Well, tonight we continue to follow all of the developments coming out of the Republican National Convention.
Day 3 of the RNC in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Let's take a live look at the site of the convention, the Fiserv Forum. Tonight's highlight will be a big speech by former President Donald Trump's new running mate.
A lot of people really looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Of course, we have live team coverage for you of the RNC. NBC 10 political commentator Sue O'Connell will be joining us. But first, we do want to begin in Milwaukee with our JC Monahan. Hi, JC.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Tonight's theme is Make America Strong Once Again. So expect speeches to focus on military and foreign policy. And there are a lot of speakers scheduled for tonight. But as you mentioned, the top one will be J.D. Vance, because on Monday he was tapped to be Donald Trump's running mate on the ticket. He is 39 years old. He's the Ohio senator. And he's been at the RNC ever since he joined Trump on night 1. Then tonight's speech will be his first, though, official one at the convention. And tomorrow, Donald Trump will formally accept the Republican nomination for president. Now, meanwhile, the Democratic Party is doing things a little bit differently for President Biden. Today, Democrats revealed they will formally renominate Biden in a virtual roll call during the first week of August. That's right before the national convention. And the co-chair of the DNC says that vote, while a break from tradition, has nothing to do with Biden's recent debate performance, which, of course, has been sparking calls for him to withdraw. Let's go to NBC 10 political commentator Sue O'Connell. Sue, last night it was Make America Safe Once Again. It could have been called, unity, because like with most, right, we had candidates during the primary who tear each other apart, and then the convention shows up and everybody rallies around the nominee. This time, though, it's a little bit different, because you had Donald Trump, who was mocking Nikki Haley's husband's military experience, Ted Cruz's wife, and Ron DeSantis's look. So this was personal, not policy. How or what do you think that the Trump team had to do to get those people back on stage and back encouraging people to vote for Donald Trump?
Well, they may not have to do much to encourage people to vote for them, and everyone comes to bend the knee and hope that they will have a spot in the administration or looking at their political future. But let's look at who actually makes up the Nikki Haley voting bloc. This is my math. About a third of them are independents, a third are Democrats who voted in the Republican primary, and a third, I think, are traditional Republicans, or what they've been called the never-Trumpers. So already 2/3 aren't going to vote for Trump anyway, for the most part. And that leaves that 1/3, the traditional Republicans. And it's likely, just like J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio and Nikki Haley, that they will just hold their nose in November and vote for Trump in hopes that they can get some thread, some little morsel of traditional Republican love from the Trump administration if he wins. But Trump really doesn't have to lift a finger in order to make that happen, JC.
So part of the convention is about laying out the party's platform, and we're hearing things will be a little bit different, perhaps not calling for, outlawing gay marriage, for anti-abortion. Can you talk about the changes that they appear to be making?
Yeah, that's pretty much a bait and a switch, a nod and a wink, JC, meaning that those are two issues: abortion access and equal rights, equal marriage rights. Those are poison to independent voters, to Democratic voters, and to a large portion of Republican voters. So eliminating them, erasing them from the platform, may make it appear as if those are just non-issues that we're not going to address. But in reality, Project 2025, that 1,000-page document that the Heritage Foundation authored, which is populated by a lot of allies who are close to Trump, that has been called the blueprint for the second Trump term. And it says, in writing, that there's a plan to halt sales of the abortion pill. And then we look over at the Supreme Court, at Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. He made clear that gay marriage is in play. So let's make sure we're looking at what's there, not just what has been erased or hidden for the moment, JC.
Good point, Sue. As always, I want to pivot to policy for just a moment. The Washington Post has reported that President Biden is looking at the potential for term limits for the Supreme Court, and also, too, I want to get this right, create an ethics code that's enforceable. Does this have a future? And frankly, Do we need it?
Oh, JC, we absolutely need it. I mean, I think this is a proposal that is long overdue and one actually that is nonpartisan. JC, the reality is that you and I, just two people on TV, we go through a much more robust vetting, conflict of interest review by our company than any Supreme Court justice does. And the decisions they make impact everyday Americans every single day. And that's just crazy. Plus, you've got the confirmation wars that every justice nominee under every single president, Republican and Democrat, has to go through. And it's high stakes because of the lifetime appointment aspect of being on the court. And that's crazy. So there have been a number of bipartisan efforts. There's one now in the House to try and reform the court and get them to follow the same rules that every other judge in America has to. So I certainly hope that they embrace this idea as well, JC.
Sue, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Matt Pritchard is here as well. Thank you. He will join me in the next half hour to talk about, well, actually, he spoke to Scott Brown, our former Massachusetts senator, and he's going to talk about what he thinks about the current state of the Republican Party. So that's coming up in just minutes at 6 o'clock. But right now, I want to send it back to Corey and Priscilla.
All right. Thank you very much, JC. Great job as always. Of course, JC and Matt both going to be joining us live from the RNC through tomorrow in Milwaukee. So be sure to tune in for their live reports. Coming up.